Hey guys, Dr. Prometheus here. Welcome back to some more of our road to the league with Southport. Last episode, we finished the league. We thought we were out of it, but we actually did our calculations, and I think we are in the Europa Conference League spot. I think. We'll have to see as we go through this, and we'll have to see if it actually ends up that way. First things first, though, let's look at some of the league stats and where we are at this point. So, looking at our stats. Here it is. So, actually, the last 5 games, Axelson had the best bit, and Makarovic actually stepped it up. The last one, only 13 goals, though, in the season. Kind of disappointed with that. I mean, we need a premier goal scorer, and he's just not it. He's just not it. He could, however, be a piece that plays attacking mid. Because he's a good passer. And maybe that's the issue is, my man here is maybe a better winger. Maybe we sell him. I'm kind of on the fence. However, if the Saudi leagues want to overpay for him, I will love that. Get some development from Glenn Brunner Bunde here. Been a great player so far, still growing at this point. Is injured currently, but 9 goals and 39 appearances. Only a 6.85 average rating, but the last 5 games or so been playing fantastic with 7.26. I think most of his goals in the last couple of games. Denson Caprelli getting his fitness up, getting his play up. I mean, right now he's more of a central U21 player for us at the moment. We're trying to get his, possibly get his eligibility up for us. It's going to be a little bit, so I think we're going to work him in the rotation next year for those cup games and maybe some of our Europa League games, or Europa Conference League games if we get it. It'll be in there. Another great signing that we did mid-season, Fujio Dodate did absolutely amazing. I think he's a prem player at his level. I think he can play and keep on getting better. Yes, he isn't the greatest consistency, but he played great. He played great when he needed to. A 6.76, 1 goal, 3 assists. We just needed him to be more of an assister, and I mean, in 14 games, 3 assists. I mean, I thought he played decently well for us. A couple of other standouts in here is Bruno with 6 assists, 5 goals. I had a 6.72, kind of struggled here. Sometimes he was there in the game, sometimes he wasn't. David, we brought it on loan. I don't think we're going to do much here, but band played great sometimes, but it is what it is. Jose Gonzalez, likely going to be our centerpiece on defense as we go forward. Now, he might be our substitute centerpiece going into this. We did sign Hamir for a couple of years just as a stopgap if we needed some bit of play. Elise will likely be out of here. He will be out of here by the end of the season. He is retiring. You guys didn't know, so he will be out. And then Zarza was a thought. Now, I think maybe we just need to give him more playing time, but I think also getting him out of the team is probably the best bit from here. So nothing crazy. As we look for it on top appearances, 40 appearances by Torello. I mean, the man did absolute work. I don't think we can get even better than him right now. 6.89. Did allow on average 2 goals. Did have 8 shutouts. I mean, he just has to do better, and he will get better because he started the year only at a championship level, and now he's already up at the Prem level. Behind him is Bunde and Phillips with them. Phillips, I thought, was all right, but I mean, for this price, is he really all right? Probably not. However, if he actually gets some interest, we'll look to sell him. Same thing with Vernesi. If he gets some interest, we'll also sell him as well. For goals, Sparkovic, who has 13 goals, Bunday with 9. Axelson come on strong this season, but did struggle sometimes with injuries. We're trying to get him up to a Prem player, and he's just not there yet. It's Bruno with goals. For assists, it's going to be Markovic. I mean, that kind of shows the fact that Markovic is a better passer than anything. And I think him playing attacking mid is a better suit than him playing striker. So we're going to have to think about a striker. And maybe we do get the sale of Herrera. So Markovic does not have a contract at the end of the year. So if we can bring him in on a... Does he have a clause? He does have an optional contract extension. That's interesting. But I think with 14 teams kind of in on it, we might be able to have our first choice there. For average rating, our best rating is 7.03 by Axelson, and Herrera has a 7.0 flat. As for contracts expiring, I mean, it's just a lease retiring and then our loanees. And from there, the next one is Nicole Latho. So, yeah. We have some space. Looking at our youth teams, we kind of showed you the youth candidates for the guys out on loan. Thiago did pretty decent for us, 7.18. Let's just by rating 7.18. Gillespie had a 7.09. For appearances, Gillespie had the most appearances for Wrexham at 51. Bergstrom had 46 for Middlesbrough. Minutes per game, looks like Ramirez played a lot of minutes a game when he actually played. Assists, Thiago had 14 assists. And Markovic for us. Then Tenda had 5, and then we had a bunch of 3 goals. It's Gillespie down at League One, lighting it up again, 27 goals. The man is a monster at that level, and, well, I think he's better than League One. I just don't think he's Prem material. Okay, so what does that mean by the formation? So if I were to say what I want to here, not a club will do this. Obviously, Cini will be our backup goalkeeper. And then we're looking at this from a rational standpoint of how we want to play going into next year. Now, Herrera would be one that would be off. And Zinali would be also. I think what we'd end up being is Zarza would be our first sub up top. Obviously, when we come in, it's going to be Axelson will be up here on the right. Well, Bruno up here on the left. Bunday will come in. Simovic. I think Simovic is more of a midfielder. I like where he is there. Now, Orel, I'm not sure. We'll put him in the possible ones that he could. He played great, but I mean, I just don't think he's going to be up to this scale. And maybe it's about selling him at that point. Heimir will be coming in. I think him being one of the middle players there with Gonzalez, probably the best deal with the defense. And from there, Capriel becomes our first developmental sub. Same thing with Leto and Sithole. I think Sinali, though, with this, if we were to go to Markovic here, I would really love to see. I think Bruno could maybe get up there. Zarza doesn't have that. Maybe it's Zarza that gets replaced out. Leto is still a... Maybe it's Denali. Denali comes in, and we don't have a second striker. And we don't. Maybe we don't. Let's put this where we normally have our players. Charlie is there. Here's our middle players. Now on the back, on the inside, I don't think anyone can really play that midfield position right now. If I had to guess, there's no one that I feel comfortable playing a backup. Now, Daviv would be out. I think we need to have someone next to Bunday. I don't feel Phillips is the player that can play on the left. Veronese is not up to scale as well. So I feel like we're in this situation where this is literally our roster of Prem players. And Mide's not even a Prem player at this. So maybe it turns into, I mean, this is what we have for Prem talent, is 5 players. That's not a good sign. So let's continue. Let's just see how this shapes up with some of the things. Bournemouth does fall in the championship. Our relegated teams are Bournemouth, Aston Villa, and Derby County. Let's look at the league right now at the XG table. XG table. Hey, XG wise, we should have finished 10th. And Everton should have finished below us. We actually finished right on where we were supposed to. Makes sense. For the player and all that stuff, it's Axel Ferreira for Arsenal, just lighting up 32 goals. He has the best average rating. Player, man of the match, Bazinko Radovanovic. Axel Ferreira has 9. Lua for Chelsea has 18 clean sheets. Assist goes to Shane Shroud for 17, or with 17. The most yellow cards is between Jorge Alvarez and Dewey Gray, one from Southampton and one from Derby County. I'm feeling good with this. I'm feeling good where we are. What that means, though, in the league table is Derby County, Aston Villa, and Bournemouth are all relegated down. So what does that mean for us? I mean, for the players, not a lot, because we don't have a lot. I'm trying to get through and scout as many of these Prem players, but I think we just need someone to be scouting wise, and their entire job is just scouting division players. Our best finish here at this point, Keem Francis scoops up the best rookie at the Skybet League Championship. That's right, we might want to see who in the championship was promoted. Promotions here at the championship level. West Brom will be joining us once again. Burnley and Queen's Park Rangers. The playoffs. So start in the semifinal. QPR beat Wolves, and then Leicester City beat Stoke City. And in that final, Leicester City lost 1-0 to Queen's Park Rangers. For League One, it's going to be Stockport County, Millwall, and Coventry City. Wrexham does have 82 points, and well, they lose in aggregate 7-5 to Portsmouth. The Coventry City batters Barnsley 6-1. And going into the final, Coventry City up over Portsmouth 2-1. League 2. We don't have anyone that we care about in League 2. We have anyone down here? No. But it's about the National League here. And yes, FC United of Manchester does squeak through by a point. A point. We got lucky. Okay, so we're going to use 4.4 million on the upgraded training facilities. Caprelli did a good job on that one. I'm gonna encourage these guys. Okay, the board says 65 million. The transfer budget is at 60 million at this point. So only a couple million there. We are worried about finances from a board perspective, I think. I think that's what they're really thinking about in setting that. But we can shift some money around if needed. How does he compare? Is this really an upgrade for 8 million? I don't see it as an upgrade. The board wants those two players so much. All right, let's see what this kind of susses into on what we want to do, because I'm going to do some scouting and I'm going to see who I can bring in. Okay, well, you might be guessing why I look different and why the camera's tilted a little bit. Let me fix that. And that's because it's a new day. It's a new day. I was looking for players, found a couple, and I think we have a couple we might spend some big money on. So, start this end of season review. For our transfers in, we brought in Ryer Clavery. I didn't realize he was 30 years old. This is something we're likely going to have to look for a possible replacement to get our under 18s to under 21s for the future. And Humide is also 31, so we need to worry about that back end. Ignacio Bruno from Porto, this was a good signing here. Only 2 goals, 2 assists, but we only had him for 10 starts and 2 subs. Ronnie Kasper Heimer for substitute did have 10 subs off the bench, 1 goal. Markovic, I think we're going to make a play for Markovic and him be the attacking midfield for us. Blan Simovic, I mean, we can sell him for money. It is there. The signing of the season is Fujio Dodate, and I would have to agree because this man, with 14 starts, 1 goal, 3 assists, so I think he could be a good presence for us next season going into European competitions. Nathan Phillips, 22 years old, came in from Wolves for 8 million. They have a 6.75, nothing crazy. David, and on loan from Real Madrid. I don't think we're going to be able to sign him. I just don't see it as a possibility because of that price tag. I just think it's out of our price range. And then Zarzo was just filling a hole for Boca. He'll likely be out. Cine also just filling a hole. Gives me the backup goalkeeper. Transfers out. The board doesn't have anything to say with it because, remember, the board was replaced about a month or so ago in season. So that's why there's no board transfer reactions. Satoshi going out for 2.6 was a good sell. And then Nicholas Velasquez out for 4.3 was another good sell. Otherwise, just trying to loosen out the roster. For our loans, Pedro Amaro was a great loan over to Ross County for 225K. But ultimately from there, not making a lot of money on loans. Wrexham wasn't able to gain promotion with these two, with Garnett and Gillespie. And yeah, it didn't work out very well for... Actually, we don't see the other loan over to our affiliates on that one. So how it fared out in all the competition. In the Prem, we were attempting to avoid relegation. We finished 11th mid-table. I think we have a Europa Conference League. We'll have to see as the season goes on. Some of the big key takeaways from this was all the times that, like, the big teams with Tottenham and United, we were just battered, no goals scored, or either one, it wasn't anything close. As the season wore on, we got a little bit better at home, at Anfield at least. United, we were able to beat them, but we still had struggles away, like West Ham in here. We had some issues scoring a goal away at Sunderland, getting this win against Aston Villa. I mean, there's a couple of key things in here. Sheffield United, and like some of these should have been wins. Carabao Cup, we can't allow Bradford City or another championship team to knock us out. And Sheffield United was a Prem team knocking us out of the Carabao Cup. That's, yeah, we have to be something better in the cups. So Gleason in the 82nd minute from 27 yards out against Derby County with 10 men on the field for Derby County at this point. This is before the break. Axelson over to Gleason, plays it Markovic, and Gleason takes a shot from range. It's just a good shot. It's just a good shot. Other than that, match to remember, it was a 2-1 win over Brentford, and then the biggest win, 4-0 over West Ham later on in the season. We needed that. Club rep hasn't gone up, but it will likely go up because of the European competition if we're in it. Other than that, the only thing that's been less was broadcast revenue. We had a couple of games that weren't broadcast as heavily, but those are made up by the amount of ticket sales that we sold because we played at Anfield. Good in corporate hospitality, a little bit more on the sponsorship, a lot more competition money because we finished higher, and then match day commercial retail, a lot more sold because a lot more fans coming through. But as 4-2-3-1, we're going to be playing it next year, or a 4-3-3. We'll kind of have to see. No competition awards, anything like that, or club awards. We'll go through. Oldest goal scorer, Michael Elise, who's retiring. Fans player of the season, Herrera. Axelson was the youngest. We saw the goal of the season, top goal scorer, Markovic. 13 goals, most assists, Markovic. That's why I think he is a better attacking midfielder than a striker. Herrera has most man of the matches. And that's one thing that's kind of going to be difficult to fill. Is if Herrera, we might have to drop him back as an attacking mid. Or actually as a midfielder, an attacking. And we might experiment with a 4-3-3 like this. However, it means Markovic doesn't have this position. So, it might end up being a 4-2-4. Or 4-2-3-1 still, but it's pushed up a little bit because training Herrera to play that is not going to work, and Markovic can't play really any of the wing positions. I don't think. I'm kind of thinking aloud at this point. Well, we just have to train him. I think he could play a wing position. Play him out on the left. We're going to have to look at that. Successful season for Southport really began to pick up speed in the middle of the campaign. Alright, supporter profile. We have some more social media followers. Crazy attempt to avoid regulation again by the fans. Our meeting, play possession soccer, play high tempo, work within the payroll, and spend original transfer budget. So they want us to spend all of this. And then attempts to avoid relegation. I'll accept that. Teams. I think we have a talent to avoid relegation next year, boys. Also, Herrera had those injury issues this season. 17 injuries. It was not great. Where are we going to go? Let's go to... Do I have any players that I really am particularly looking at that... Or maybe America, he's English. Colombian. Or two guys that we gave possible contracts to is this Singalalis, 18-year-old. He has 2 caps at the U21s and just had his first cap in the first team. So that's why I'm looking at him. And we tried to give one to Markovic. We'll see how this one works. I'm thinking... I had to pick. It might be Germany. So it's Germany. Okay. Stadium plans again are expanding by another 3.7. Actually, 3,750 seats. We're back at Anfield for another season. The board is investing this money, and I'm all for it. I'll take that. Okay, so we are going to have to bring in Aranza, and I think this is fine with this bid. It seems like we're not going to be able to deny any of this right now, so... Hey... 10 or so million is going to be spent on what we need. Trying to get these facilities. Not going to get it. Ali doesn't want to come over here, and I'm fine with that. All right, so the players that I'm looking at possibly making a couple of splashes. So what I mean by a couple of splashes, we need to figure out what we ultimately want to do with all of this. Now, shortlist wise, I've kind of put them all in our defaults, and we're kind of looking at this from this situation. So Ismail's going to be here. I was looking at this man, Thomas Korbelnagel. I think he could be a good DM that could play next to Bunde. It's going to take a little bit of him to get up to speed. Be next to Bunde himself, but I think everything besides the acceleration, this screams a good defensive player. Let's come out and make an offer here. Let's see, let's make an offer that's around 8 million with 3 installments for, let's say, 3 million. They want all of that. They want percentage of next sale. Let's give them a little bit more than that then. I'm thinking like 10 million with 3 installments of 3 million. We're paying 13 million over to not have those clauses. The one I was thinking of was Vladimir. I'm gonna butcher this. Dmitry Jevic. He's a young player that could develop. And we're looking for developmental type guys. He wants plenty of playing time. And I think that's probably the smart move in the grand scheme of things. But he would likely fail to get that work permit. So there is that. But so would Malik, but he will be an ESC slot, and I'm fine with doing those. So going through a couple of other guys that I've kind of spotted at this point. we're going through. Actually, I'll have to go over to targets. There's a couple in here. Dennis Thielman might be one. We might have to take a big splash. This would be a good one to do, but it was Simone DeRosa. Now, he didn't do very great for us. Only 11 goals and 35 appearances. And Atlanta only had 9 goals and 26. I'm not sure where they actually played him, though, in that. Trying to see, is there any way we can see? He's playing as a deep lying forward. So the realistic thing is, this man is not going to score a lot of goals, but he's coming deep back to the ball. Like, he's playing back where an attacking mid is. And I think we could possibly get him if, well, on a loan to buy. Another one I was thinking about and looking at the expiration dates right now, there's no one in here that's big. I've looked at end of contracts. Even the guy that's end of contracts here hasn't really had anything. And then when I go through youngsters, the one that really stood out to me, but he has no real interest, is Flarucci here. However, he doesn't want to actually come, which is understandable. Now, we could go a bit with an experiment for someone younger. Saw this guy from Real Madrid, and he is wanted by 11 clubs in particularly Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, and Juventus. So we're looking at probably a very good player here. Does lack some consistency. He does need a lot of work, though. But he is a sell for the future. But I don't think he'll be up to what we need. And kind of looking through here, looking at some of the more younger guys. Just haven't really had any luck. I'm looking through the targets. There's a couple in here that kind of stand out to me that might be possible. Other than those two, actually, it was in potential signings. I was looking for the potential with Henry Hodges, but I think he would need a lot of development at 20. I don't think that's a smart play. Are released, not a lot here in the first place. I mean, McIntyre already contracted. There was nothing crazy in the 18s. I mean, no one's going to honestly give anyone up that it's not there. So at the end of the day, we're just going to have to continue looking at this point, and I think we might ask for more scouts because we need to be able to scout the rest of this division. And I would like to have some scouts that are really just dedicated to scouting our division itself. And games. Let's take that out. I'll give you $2 million for him. Just for those rights. Okay. Let's kind of see where we're at in the negotiations. So Abernagel wants a squad. Let's say if he plays an average match rating of 7, he'll be up to a better playing time. And then from here, let's take out this yearly salary raise. We're not going to get relegated, but I will take this 57 million from here. If he ends up being better than advertised, then we'll be there. But give 1.14 million. We'll probably have to mess around with some of the things. So important window, Markovic would be a guy that plays. Let's take that out. Let's say we'll give him 3 million with that, and those will be big signings for us if we can pull that off in the grand scheme of things. Still under the cost with that. So what we need to look as Elise is going to be out, so we don't have to worry about him. Gleason Let's see if we can get him out on just about anything. Let's say for 20 million. And then Kobo wants to be loaned or sold. Let's see if we can get Kobo out for like 5 million. And Arel also wants the same thing. See if anyone will take 7.5. And Herrera is the one that is just an unknown, but I think we could probably put him out for 20 million, and the Saudi leagues might actually bite at that. All right, let's keep on hitting continue, and we'll be back when something happens, because yeah, it's gonna be a little bit. I just noticed I was muted, so let's go through this again. So we had the Saudi Pro League did offer 15.75 for Herrera. We'll see if this league on team, Losk, or however you pronounce it, I don't know. We'll give up that 15.75. Orel, we denied these two that have selling team wages, and we accepted the 7.5 ones. Put out Gleason and Kobo. Gleason's price at 20 million was a little high. We also decreased Kobo's. And Markovic gets the player of the month for last month in May, and then young player of the month, Dodate and Abunde. So, okay, Markovic has decided to come join us. So he will be here for next season. So our idea will be probably to train Markovic in here. Monday's down here. Renesi will be in the lineup there. Zito is joining Queens Park Rangers. There are 3 signings here that we've confirmed. Luis Suarez, Ismet Lutic, which was from last season, and Simeon Vargarli. I mean, 2 of these signings were just mistakes. They should have been in last year playing the under-21s team, but can't always actually fix that. Orel's going out to Cadiz, so we're going to accept that. And there's one more out the door. And that's Orel, signed for a good fee as well. What we're talking about with Orel, we brought him in on a free, and we turned that into 7.5 million in cash. So that is great. Well, Torello does have a clause. His clause is for UEFA Champions League teams. And if he actually gets that clause exercised for 35 million, there's another keeper I have in mind that we can bring in. So I think we're fine with that. Okay. Here's Elise retiring. So it'll bring the money down a little bit back under control. Again, I think we might have some issues with registration in our own league. So we get a small reputation boost in here, which is nice. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, we're up to 3 stars. I still have some questions on what we're going to do to start this. We have a couple weeks before the season starts, and we have not actually made our commitments of who we're bringing into the squad yet. It's not good. Gleason's out to Fulham. I mean, we have all of this money at this point. We have to figure out where to spend it. I need defensive players. I think I've picked up a couple of young players. We're going to be a very youthful team trying to break through. All right, here is the league signings. Chelsea dominated these 2. Okay. This man being on a free. Wow, okay. We'll change Avoid relegation. We'll take that. Club improvements. A higher grade for the academy setup? I will take that. All right, we're back at Anfield this year, and because of that, we are gonna have to move some games. Maybe this is the best league without being the top. Maybe it goes by situation. I'm not sure. We're obviously going to be in Germany, so there's our 3 friendlies. A couple of friendlies that we've did. Iago is back. And we're looking for players. This is likely going to be our attacking mid right here. We're going to bring him in. We're going to teach Markovic to be an outside forward. And then we have to worry about what we're going to do outside of that. Herrera is, of course, gone at this point. All right, so I'm making a massive bid right now. Aston Villa has been relegated. And Jack Bennett wants to leave because of that. It's going to be a big ask, I think. I think it really is. I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to get from these guys. It is possible that we can pull off a couple of good players from them, but it's going to be a bit difficult. We'll see if we get this bid. This will be our right back if we did this. And then I can't put in the loan, what I want for our loanee until the 1st. So I have to wait until here. Then we might be good for everything. Keyword is maybe. All right, we're looking to win that Division 3 again. Division 2 for under 18s has been drawn as well. Hopefully we get something with that. I do have to switch some guys around for those divisions. So there's that. But we should be fine. All right, here is the work permit. If we appeal it, we should get him in. So shouldn't be any issue. West Brom is in administration right now. After getting promoted back up to the Prem, they're going to take a 10-point hit, or 9-point hit, all because the money has not flowing in yet. And that's what I'm trying to avoid here at Southport, is a complete crush of the financials. So I'm being, even though the board has told me I need to spend the money, I'm trying to be very strategic with the money, because we don't have a stadium that can support the wages we're paying right now. And the only reason we're actually up to where we are is because of the sole fact that, well, because we're renting Anfield. So now that I'm looking at this, I actually did this wrong. It has to be a 9th place finish. Now, this debacle was weird because Liverpool won here and gets a Champions League spot. No one was actually granted a Conference League spot, which I've looked through all the teams. I've looked through Everton. I've looked at Sunderland, who doesn't have it either. I'm unsure what it is. So that means we need to have at least an 8th finish. Because Man City will win the Europa League, so they'll be in the Champions League. Oh, you know what? So I think the time that it went down to 10th, 11th in last year's game, it was because the team that won the Europa League had won the Champions League spot. So they already had a Champions League spot, which pushed down another Champions League spot, which then the FA Cup was won by 2 Champions League spots, which pushed it down 2 more. So it turned into You have the top one here. Here's the 4, including the one that has the thing. So say Arsenal, for example, won Europa League. So they would already have that. Champions League would go down here. And then say that the trophy were down to here. So that would be 2 there. Which means it would be Conference League here. Yeah, I can only go down 9. Now say if someone were to win the Conference League and already has a ticket here, it could push it down to 10. That's too many things. We just have to be top 7. That's what it comes down to. Top 7. It's gonna be a painful one right now, but yeah, we're going through preseason and I'm not particularly hopeful at the squad right now compared to last season. We've did some upgrades, but they're very young upgrades. And I'm not sure if it's going to translate into something big. So looking at I wanted to take Bromley in the first place. Actually, Aldershot Town. Let's take Aldershot Town. Adequate training facilities. So another affiliate, one down in the Venerable National League North, I think, which we need to pull in, and then one in the Football League. So that will work for us. We're slowly getting some guys out because ultimately I think we've had to kind of go forward and make a couple of signings we probably didn't want to make at this point, but because of some injuries, but it's okay. I think we'll be fine at the end of the day. All right, so as we wind down on our signings, we're going to look at who the media thinks is going to be the ones in the goal scoring department. Obviously, Axel Ferrara, 2-1 odds from Arsenal, having the top goal scorer. Then Radov Nikovic from Man City. Maravinho from Newcastle. Nicholas Koopman from West Ham. Joaquin Moreno from Tottenham. And Andrew Buffon from United. So those are the ones. Those are the ones. I'm feeling a bit better where we are as a squad right now, and I will tell you why. So I would love to do this. We don't do international soccer. We don't do international football. Don't reject it. But taking over the England job? Wow. Okay, top player. Again, Axel Ferreira. Antonio Di Pasquale from Chelsea. Radov Nikovic. Again, Juan Vera from Man United. Maravinho again. And then Attila Almeida Ferrara from Newcastle. So 2 from Newcastle with that one. That is a big change of pace for us. Big change of pace. The top young players. So Guerrero is in here at number 5. So Arloni from Everton, I think. Yeah. The price for him is outrageous, though. Rab Winter is the leader in this one from Man City. Leo Amala from Tottenham. Jorge Alvarez from Southampton. Connor Martin from Tottenham again. And then Valentin Torres from Newcastle. I'm unsure about that because we're bringing in the young player in the World Cup who had 6 goals as a young player for Norway in the World Cup this season. We're going to look to bring him in. And I do want to look at who won the World Cup. So let's see. It went to Italy in extra time. Let's look at this in stages. Used by tree. Okay, Norway actually lost to Italy. So that was who they did. Now their key player is not going to be on here. But the man, Holstein Hallberg, in, where is it? Where do I see this? In the World Cup International. 10 total appearances, so not 12, 10 total appearances, 6 goals, 1 assist, 1 man of the match, at a 7.08 in the World Cup as a 20-year-old. That is insane. That is insane. We're going to rotate this guy in and out. He looks absolutely fantastic. Like, if he can do that in the World Cup, imagine what he can do against the same competition, just higher. We might see a lot of work going through this. So our last preseason game at Salzburg, I don't think anything is wrapped up. We're done with the key signings at this point. We don't start in a terrible predicament to start with, as I'm kind of going through and still pressing continue as I want to go through this. The biggest thing with this is I think we have an opportunity to get a higher maybe finish than 11th. Our team is drastically better than it was last year. It's just incremental steps, and this is what it has to go into. Incremental steps to get up to be the man. Funny part is Rooney is back in the back into everything, and with that injury, that likely paves the way for the striker we're going to sign to come in and play against Salzburg. That's interesting. We're going to play our starters here. Litchfield is going to come in. Obviously, that slot finished. I mean, that's very interesting. If he comes in and flashes, like early against West Ham, Man United, and Chelsea, we could have something. We could definitely have something. I'm thinking this year what we're looking for is still it's avoid relegation. I think what we're focusing is the possibility of actually getting top 7. Once we get European football, I think from there the script is turned. Our ability to get our actual prestige up continues. We probably play another year at Anfield, which is a ton of money at this point. We're going to spend 20 million over what we ever anticipated in salary, but I think the board anticipated this because they wanted us to actually spend the money out of that. We have a lot of guys on loan, which is I think the loans will get us 3 or 4 million this year in combination, so that'll help us a little bit play at Anfield. And if we play well at Anfield from then, we could also have something as well. So yeah, so let's look at what we'll be looking for at the beginning of the year. West Ham United, Manchester United, and Chelsea. Carabao Cup is in the second round right after that Chelsea game. That has to be a game we play better. Unfortunately, what we're going to be going into is Trella will be out. If I can see his injury temp. Come on, injury temp. Nine days and 3 weeks. So probably a little over 2 weeks or so he is going to be out. It's not going to be bad. We only spent 30 million, which isn't at all more than I thought we were going to spend. I thought we were going to spend a lot more. We're at 85. Remember, the board wanted us to spend 65. We're going to be way over our salary, but hey, it happens at this point. We've had a couple of injuries. Well, one prominent injury, but we had to bring in a goalkeeper. So that was another 6 million that we had to spend and bring in a youngster who will play up at the under 21s when we don't have it, or maybe he'll play at the under 18 since he is under 18, and maybe, or he is 18, so he's going to be there. Gonzalez doesn't want to be out on loan because he's going to be starting at center back, and we kind of told him that there's no reason for a loan like that because of it. At the end of the day, what we're looking at is we just need better play from the defense, the back set, and then we need better scoring. That is what we're going to focus on this year. That's what I've focused particularly in this year, is upgrade the wing back positions. So both of them are now defender wing backs, which is nice, capable of putting some defense. Our captain for the year, I think, is going to be Clavery and Torillo. And then looking at this, when we look at the league itself in the season preview, obviously we have no one in the Media Dream 11. That's not going to happen there. We are actually slated to be 18th. 18th, they still think we're going to be relegated. They think Burnley is going to do better at 14th. At least we're not under 18. The ones that are slated to be relegated with us, Queen's Park Rangers and West Brom. Remember, West Brom took a 9-point hit, so they will likely be the 20th team. Just kind of how it's going to go. They say Newcastle will win the league. Okay, that's an interesting one. Despite the fact that Chelsea has some of the best... I mean, really, it's just 2 Newcastle players, 2 City players, 3 Chelsea players, 2 United, 1 Liverpool, and then the other one's Liverpool. So, okay, that's interesting. So the key players in the league that we have on the roster right now is our 18-year-old Malik Thandom. Malik is, if he is already up here in the key players, that's massive. And in the sign that we did, Jack Bennett, that it took us a couple times to get through and do that. So I'm going to continue here all the way to the West Ham game. Then we'll review some of the signings that we made that I didn't point out, some of the signings that I think that'll be key for the season, and some of the youngsters we've kind of added to see what we can do, and also some of our sales. Some of our sales aren't in this video, and it took us a long time to actually sell a lot of players, unfortunately. So there's that. All right, he's here. It is our last under 21 signing that we'll be making for this year. We've made 6 of them. We're trying to bring in youngsters. We're trying to not just build a youth team, but we're trying to build some type of youth and merge it with a couple of the older players here. This is going to be a big bit. We have spent 79 million right now. 79. And this man is going to be the one that starts up top for us. He is going to be the one that tries to take us to the promised land the first month or so of the season. And it's going to be big. We're playing at Anfield again, so we will likely see a lot more fans if we play better. And since we have a better team, we'll likely see it. I'm hoping. We'll see. Okay, so here is our expectations. Avoid relegation, be competitive in both cups. That's what it is here. What we're hoping. And it's going to be a big one. Obviously, we're going to play probably a day behind everyone on top of that on Sunday instead of Saturday because we have to share Anfield. So there is that. Hopefully some of these guys that are out on loan will come back, have good times on loan, good playing, come back, have some growth, and be able to be sold when we get them back. A couple of them are pretty cheap buys, if not frees, and I think we could get it. I think we could get something from that. So ticket sales, more ticket sales this year, and there it is. So the look will be Holberg up top. The man is going to get his chance. And we'll see. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big starting bit. We're putting a lot of faith in a lot of young players. Marius for one of them, which I think could be a great player. Markovic, once he learns this position, I think he's going to be better out wide. Dodate played well. I think he is going to be a decent Prem player at this point as well. Bunde is getting it up there. I think he is going to be a good one also. Malik is going to be probably an absolute monster. An absolute monster of a player for us. Suarez Cummins has to learn that wingback position, but him coming in is going to be good for us. On top of Bennett coming out wide. I mean, we have a good solid base. And how that transfer history kind of wound it out is down here. I mean, as you look at it, I'm going to have to go no screen here for a second. Is Lucia coming in for 1.5 and Regardi? Those are two signs that should have been a year earlier. That's my fault there. Malik coming in from Generation Foot. That was only a 400k signing, and he is one of the top players in the Prem. Top 25 or top 50. For 400k, I mean, that is insane. That is insane. And of course, one of the guys that the board wanted to bring in, he's going to be a backup midfielder for us. Kabernagel coming in from Copenhagen. I mean, that was only a 13 million. I mean, they're thinking he's going to be a big fee playing guy, and I think we're going to get him in and out at times throughout the season. Then Castro, we played 3 million for him. He's going to be at the under 21s, kind of playing there for right now. He does have an injury. He did have a dislocated shoulder. Unfortunate with that one. And then the other one's coming in. Ditchfield. We needed some English players, so he is one that comes in. Marius Kabaya for 3 million. 3 million for this man. We're gonna have to renegotiate his contract in probably a year, but this man looks freaking phenomenal. Obviously, Markovic, 2 million to get the negotiation rights, and then 1.5 million for that loan for Guerrero. We need another body that can also train the young guys, so we brought in Michael Lakabe. I mean, no caps at the first team for England, but I mean, we're just looking for a guy, good, determined personality, can come in and train some of the youngsters, and plus he only wants a French bit. Because of the injury to Tirala, we had to bring in another keeper. This is Kyoto Mishima. This man might be even better than Palosini. I think he will be better than Palosini. I think this man might be the successor to Tiralo. And it is an interesting bit of comparison. It's interesting. When it came to a lot of the games right now, I only played one. It was a shutout in that. Then when I look at Cine, he had 5 shutouts. So, I mean, we played very good. This is the one where Tirala went down injured, I think. No, Tirala played in this one, gave up 4 goals to Stuttgart. Other than that, I mean, we played Roma, only gave up 1 goal. Cine, we played Salzburg, kept them as well. So I feel like Cine is the one that can come through and start with us. We'll see what he can do from that, but that is a good backup signing. And of course, Jack Bennett. This was a $45 million signing, could be up to 54, which is just about his cost right now. We needed someone that could play this wing position. He could also slot in the middle if we need him to, but he's definitely going to be playing on defense. And then we saw Holberg. Holberg looks like an absolute freaking monster, and we'll see what kind of monster he can turn into. All the transfers out from here. Cabo, FC Lorient on loan. Casito already agreed to go to Queen's Park Rangers last season, so he moves. Herrera, we saw that, to Al Hilal for 15.75. The board was a little bit hectic and had issues with it, but we did get him out. They said he should be out for 19 million. The board got angry that we sold him for 15.75, but I just wanted to get him out the door. Orel, 7.5 to Cadiz. That is a big one because I think Orel it was a free signing. So we made 7.5 and the man got us out of League 2, League 1 in the championship, got us promoted out of it with those 11 goals and 5 assists, and then essentially in the Prem the first year, got us to stay up with 3 man of the match performances until he was kind of just phased out of the first team from there. Tinotenda, Makin Ganwa on loan to Crawley Town. We have a lot of loanees to Wrexham this season. Martin Ramirez is over there. David Sithole. And I think we had one other go over there. Maybe not. Maybe it just feels like a lot because last season. But though we finally let him go out on loan. He wanted to go on loan. He's getting a little disgruntled. We let him go to Middlesbrough. Then Amaro to Queen's Park. We got a new affiliate with Aldershot Town, so Sambor and Mark King both go over and play for them, trying to prevent them from getting relegated out of League 2. Bergstrom to Parthenope for $1 million, and then some fees with these loans. Steven Age, 2.2 for Thiago. Simonovic, 205 total with Hibernian. There's also an optional loan fee there. And then Sithole in that 17.75 from Wrexham. Nothing particularly crazy other than the fact that we just spent, what is that? 81, 84, 97. Let's go with the fees that we have to pay. 108.7. Say 109. 112. Wow. 113.5 million. More likely 13.6, but that is insane. 113. We only canceled out by, what was that, 39.5? So we still spent about 80 some odd million. And we still have an overall positive balance. Projection, yeah, we're not going to lose this profit loss. We're actually going to end up with a profit this season because we're at Anfield. So that's going to be a massive one. I think we're at Anfield the entire year, if I'm not mistaken. Span ground 6 months. So we'll be at Anfield half the year or so. Which is fine. Which is fine. The board thinks we are so within the payroll budget. Like, look at this. This is where we are. Wow, we stayed within the payroll budget. We spent all the money in the transfer budget. Now it's time for a new season. 2038. It's West Ham, Manchester United, and Chelsea. 2 games at Anfield. So that is going to be the end of your episode. I know I was kind of going through that last part with no screen cam because of the fact that we're kind of going down to the transfers. Nothing crazy. The biggest thing is we just need good play against the good teams. We had it down the stretch in the last end of the year. I think we can transfer that in, although it's not the same team. I don't think this team is going to be hit. A lot of people are going to be moving. I mean, team cohesion. A lot of them moving on. We had to kind of mess with that team cohesion and get those guys in it. But it's average. It's decent. Ditchfield's going to be fine. He's going to be playing. He has issues with Ramon Guerrero taking his position. So we'll see how that is. But yeah. So thank you all for joining me. Go and leave a like below, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Later.